Okay, this is the solutions to the test samples for chapter 7 and 8. Okay, when we simplify radical expressions, always make sure that if the index is 4, then we will try to make the radicand raised to the fourth power. So 8 is what? 8 is 4 times 2 or 2 times 4. So you can make it x squared raised to the fourth power. So always make sure the radicand has to have the same exponent as what? As the index. So this is equal to x to the 6th power times 4th root of, okay, 8 is 2 times 4. So you can make it x squared raised to the 4th power. Then x to the 6th power times what? Since the index and the power are the same, you can take the base out. Then x to the 6 plus 2 is x to the 8th power. X raised to the 8th power. Okay, number 2. The index is 3, so we will try to make third powered factors in the radicand. So let's check each factor. Okay, 5 is just 5. X to the 5th power. Okay, 5th power is 5 can be divided into 3 plus 2. So you can make it x cubed times x squared. So that the exponent will be 3 plus 2 is 5. And 27 in the denominator, 27 is 3 cubed. And then y to the 15th power. Okay, 15, the exponent 15 is 5 times 3. So you can make it power to another power. 5 times 3 is 15. Alright, then from here you can take all bases whose exponent is 3. So this is 3, so you can take this x out. And this is 3, so you can take this y to the 5th power. And this has exponent 3, so you can take this 3 out. And other stays inside. So cube root of. Alright, then actually you can separate the numerator and the denominator with the cube root. Right, cube root. Alright, then this is equal to. Okay, from the numerator, take this x out. Then other stays inside. Cube root of what? Okay, take this x out. Then other stays inside. 5 x squared. From the denominator, take this 3 out. And y to the 5th power. This one out. Then other stays inside the cube root. There's nothing in the cube root, right? Nothing in the cube root. So the cube root is, there's nothing, just 1. So leave it as this. So this is the simplified expression. Okay, number 3. Okay, we gotta rationalize the denominator. Rationalize the denominator means the denominator contains a radical. So we have to get rid of the radicals. So one way to get rid of the radical is multiply both top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate is what? Just change the sign. Minus 2 plus. So square root of 5 plus 2. That's the conjugate of the denominator. So then we got to multiply by the same conjugate of the denominator. Then y, okay, the reason that we multiply the conjugate is what? This is a plus b, a minus b. Then this is equal to a squared minus b squared. So once you square a radical, then it becomes the radical symbol is removed, right? So this is equal to, the numerator is 3 times square root of 5 plus 2. The denominator is square root of 5 squared, a squared minus b squared. So that is equal to 3 square root of 5. The numerator, clear the parentheses. We gotta use the distribution property, right? So that is 3 times 2 is 6. The denominator Square root of 5 squared is just 5. Minus 2 times 2 is 4. Then square root of 3 times square root of 5 plus 6 over 1. Since the denominator is 1, then just remove the denominator, so we have only the numerator. Okay, so this one does not have radical in the denominator. Okay, when we solve a radical equation, we have to get rid of the radicals by multiplying each side of the equation by taking square. So in this case, okay, square each side. Square each side. And then check the solution. Always. Once you get the solution, always we check the solution because we squared each side. Always check the solution. So we will square each side. Square the left side. Square the right hand side of the equation. Then we can get rid of the square root symbol. So that is 2x plus 5 is equal to 9 times x. Then from here, solve for x. So minus 9x each side. Then negative 7x plus 5 is equal to 0. And then minus 5 each side. Then negative 7x is equal to negative 5. Then x is 5 over 7. And then we gotta check if this is okay. And then probably it's okay. So let's check it out. So square root of 2x plus 5 is it equal to 3 square root of x. So let's check it out. So square root of 7 and the 2 times square root of 2 times 5 over 7 plus 5. Then this is equal to square root of 10 over 7 plus 5 over 7. Then square root of, no, the denominator is 7, right? Okay, so 10 over 7 plus, multiply the numerator by 7, then 35, square root of 45 over 7. This is what we got on the left hand side. How about the right side? Okay, right side. Okay, so you can move 3 to inside. Let's move 3 inside, then it will be 9x. Then 9 times x is what? 5 over 7. The square root of 5 times 9 is 45 over 7. So this is equal. Okay, so the answer is what? 5 over 7. Or if you simplify this one more time, then this will be square root of 45 is 7 times 9, right? No. 5 times 9. 5 times 9 is 45. And then 9 is 3 squared. So this is equal to 3 times square root of 5 over 7, right? Then this is equal to what? This is equal to 3 times x is what? 5 over 7. So actually they are same. So 5 over 7 is the solution. Okay, when we rationalize the denominator of this complex fraction, we gotta multiply both top and bottom by what? Negative 2i, right? Negative 2i. Since this is I, we use different sign, negative 2i. Negative 2i. Then this is equal to, so multiply the numerator by negative 2i. Then there will be negative 10i, right? And then multiply the second term, so negative times negative is plus 2 times I squared. Okay, the bottom is 2 times 2 is 4, so negative 4i squared. Then we know that I squared is equal to what? Negative 1. I squared is equal to what? Negative 1, right? This is equal to what? Negative 1. So you can rewrite the expression as 2 times negative 1, negative 4 times negative 1. Then this is equal to negative 10i minus 2 over positive 4. Then you can, in this case, you can factor the numerator, or we can separate each part. separate each part in the numerator, then there will be 10I over 4, right? Minus 2 over 4. Then simplify each term, the negative 5 over 2I minus 1 over 2. Write the real part first, so 1 over negative 1 over 2 minus 5 over 2I. Okay, evaluate, simplify this one. So that means, okay, 81 is 9 squared, and 9 squared is what? 9 is 3 squared. So can I write it like this? This is 3 to the 4th power, raised to the 3/4. Then power to another power, so multiply the exponents. Then from these exponents, you can cancel out this 4, so 3 cubed. So this is equal to 27. Okay, number 7, okay, find f of 20. So f of 20 means 20 is the input value, so replace x with the input value 20. So cube root of, replace this x with 20, and then simplify. So this is cube root of 60 plus 4 is 64, and 64 is what? Cube root, index is 3, so this will be 64 is 4 cubed. So this is equal to 4. Okay, number 8, find the conjugate of this expression and multiply this expression by the conjugate. So the conjugate is what? Change the sign. So 4 plus square root of 5. Then this is equal to, okay, difference of squares, a plus b times a minus b is equal to what? A squared minus b squared. So use this formula. So this is equal to 4 squared minus square root of 5 squared. Then 16 minus 5, so that is equal to 11. Okay, this is a complex number, imaginary solution. So whenever you have negative value inside the square root, then this is equal to what? Imaginary unit I. So let's convert this one into imaginary unit I. So this is equal to what? Negative 4 is 4 times negative 1, right? And this is equal to just negative 1. So square root of 4 times square root of negative 1 minus square root of negative 1. Then square root of negative 1 is what? I. And square root of 4 is 2. So 2I minus I. 2I minus I. Then combine these two. So that is 2 minus 1I, which is equal to just I. Or you can do this way. Okay, this is negative, and the 4 is square root of 4 is 2, so you can make it 2, and square root of negative 1 is I, right? And then minus square root of negative 1 is just I, so this is equal to 2 minus 1 is just I. Okay, number 10, solve the equation containing radical. So since it contains radical, we have to get rid of this radical symbol by what? By squaring each side. So square each side, then we can get rid of the square root. And then what do? Always check. Okay, check the solution. So the left side of the equation is 2x squared minus 1. The right side is, we can use a formula. Okay, what's formula? A minus b squared. A minus b squared is equal to what? A squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So x squared minus 2ab. 2 times ab is 4x plus 4. Okay, minus 2 times x times 2. Then 2x squared. Okay, now what? Move all these terms to the left. So 2x squared minus x squared plus 4x minus 4, and this is minus 1 is equal to 0. So when you move terms to the other side, change the sign, right? Change the sign. Then combine the like terms. So this is x squared This is 4x. Wait a minute. Okay, so plus 4x. And combine these two, so minus 5 is equal to 0. Then factor the left-hand side, x times x, 1 times 5. Minus sign goes on 1, so this product is negative x. This is 5x. The sum is 4x m as the second term. Then this is equal to, now what? X minus 1, x plus 5 is equal to 0. So from here, what? X equals 1 or x equals negative 5. We have two values. So we gotta check whether, these two satisfies the equation. So first, when x equals 1, square root of 2x squared minus 1, is it equal to x minus 2? Let's check it out. So substitute 1, then 2 times 1 squared minus 1, then square root of what? 2 minus 1 is square root of 1 is 1. Okay, this is equal to, x equals 1, so 1 minus 2, that is equal to negative 1. This is not equal to negative 1. So that 1 is not a solution. How about, let's try 5. Okay, let's try 5. X equals negative 5. Then, square root of 2x squared minus 1, is it equal to x minus 2? Let's check it out. So x is negative 5. So 2 times negative 5 squared minus 1. The square root of 2 times 25 minus 1 is 50 minus 1. Square root of 49 is 7. Okay, the right side, x is negative 5. It's negative 5 minus 2 is equal to negative 7. Then this is not equal to negative 7. So this 2 does not satisfy the inequality, the equation. So there is no solution. Let me double check if this is correct. Okay, so this 7 and negative 7 is not equal to, so negative 5 is also not a solution. So there is no solution. Okay, number 11, this is a complex solution because something squared is negative. Some squared is negative, so we know that the solution is a complex number. So let's get rid of this power 2. In order to, if you remove the power 2, for example, something squared is, let's say, is equal to a, then the base is equal to what? Plus or minus square root of a. So we're going to use this property. So the base of the left-hand side of the equation is what? X plus 4. Then plus or minus square root of negative 18. Then x is equal to, move 4 to the other side, then negative 4 plus or minus. Okay, square root of negative 18 is square root of 18i. Then negative 4 plus or minus 18 is 2 times 9. 2 times 9, and 9 is what? 3 squared. 2 times 9, 9 is 3 squared. So x is equal to, finally, negative 4 plus or minus 3 square root of 2i. So there are two solutions. One is negative 4 plus 3 square root of 2i. The other one is negative 4 minus 3 square root of 2i. Okay, when completing a square, okay, always make sure that this is x squared, this is negative 5x. And then make sure we gotta add what? Half the coefficient of x. Half the coefficient of x squared. So this one goes here. So since this is an equation, we gotta add each side of the equation. We gotta add what? The same number to each side of the equation. So this is equal to, so you can write it as this, or this is equal to what? Positive 25 over 4. Right? Positive 25 over 4. So this is gonna be 25 over 4. This is also 25 over 4. Or you can write it as what? Negative 5 over 2 squared. Still okay. You can write it as negative 5 over 2. Or you can simplify this too. Alright, negative 5. Come on, negative 5. Okay, so make sure the third component is what? Coefficient of, okay, divide the coefficient of x. Divide the coefficient of x by what? By 2. And then square. Okay, that's the third term, so that this trinomial will be a perfect square. Okay, for number 13, we can solve this equation by using quadratic formula or completing the square method. So if you use a quadratic formula, then what's the quadratic formula? Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Bad boy, right? Bad boy succeed or fail. If he tries to escape from the prison, the boy needs power 2. Then it's time to what? Go for action, right? Go for action for AC. Go for action, right? Then what? Write a letter to all the inmates. So from here, let's find x, negative b. So a is what? 2, b equals negative 3, and c equals 4. So plug in all these values. So negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4a c over 2 times a. Then simplify. So 9, so positive 3 plus or minus square root of, okay, negative 3 squared is 9 minus, okay, 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 4 is 32 over 4. So that is equal to 3 plus or minus square root of, that is negative 23 over 4. So this is the solution. 3 plus or minus square root of 23, not yet, because the radical is negative number, right? Negative number. So we have to make it a imaginary unit. So this is equal to square root of 23i over 4. Okay. So you can, sorry, this over 4 is all the way down, right? All the way down. So this is the solution. Okay, number 14 is a rectangle. This is a rectangle, and the length is 3 times the width. 3 times the width means what? Okay, 3 times width, this means length is 3w. And the area is given. Area formula. What's the area formula? Area is equal to what? Length times the width. And then from here, we gotta find the perimeter. So, since the area is given, we gotta use this equation. So area is length times w. Where length times w is equal to 27. And length can be written in terms of w. So 3w. L is what? 3w. Times w is equal to 27. From here, we can find w. So 3w squared equal 27. Then w squared is what? Divide each side by 3. So 9. So from here, w is equal to plus or minus square root of 9 plus or minus 3. Then we allow only positive number, right? Positive number. So y equals positive 3. Then the length is equal to what? Then the length is equal to 3w. So that length equals 3 times 3 is what? 9 feet. So the perimeter is, now the perimeter is what? Sum up all 4 side lengths. So 2l plus 2w. Then 2l is 2 times 9 plus 2 times w. Then 18 plus 6 is equal to 24 feet. So the perimeter is 24 feet. Okay, number 15, find the vertex of this function. Then, okay, in order to find the vertex of this quadratic function, okay, let's say the quadratic function is ax squared plus bx plus c. Then the vertex of the x coordinate is always what? Negative b over 2a. Then the y coordinate is just plug in this x value. to the function. So this is the formula for the vertex. So from here, for the vertex, the x value is equal to x coordinate is equal to negative b over 2a. Then negative b, so negative times b. B value is negative 6 over 2 times a. A is negative 1. So from here, okay, a is negative 1, b equals what? Negative 6. And c equals negative 7, but we don't need c. Okay, so that is equal to positive 6 over positive negative 2. So negative 3. So x coordinate is negative 3. Then y value is what? F of negative 3 is the y value. And the y is equal to what? F of negative 3. So plug in negative 3. So negative x is negative 3 squared minus 6 times negative 3 minus 7 equals negative 9 plus 18 minus 7. Then this 2 is positive 9 minus 7 is equal to 2. So y coordinate is 2, x coordinate is negative 3. Negative 3 and 2. So the vertex is equal to x is negative 3, y coordinate is 2. So this is the point, the vertex, negative 3 and 2. Okay, number 16, okay, solve the inequality. So when we solve the inequality, we have to first find the critical numbers. The critical numbers are the ones that makes the expression is equal to 0. So in this case, we can set this x equal to 0, this equal to 0, then x are what? 0 and 2. So 0 and 2 are the critical numbers. These are the critical numbers. So plot the numbers. Here's 0 and 2. So if x equals 0, then y equals 0. So let's assume that this is y. Okay, this is equal to y. So if x equals 0, then this is 0. So we will allow 0. So this 0 is included and 2 is also included, because once this x is 0 and 2, the expression is equal to 0. And for each interval, there are three intervals. So from these 3 intervals, let's find the sign of this expression. So if x equals, and select any number in the first interval. So let's say x is negative 1. X is negative 1, then what happens? Negative 1, then negative 3 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 2. Then this is what? Negative times negative is negative, and this is negative. So this is positive, right? Positive. All right. Negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative. Oh, sorry. Negative is negative. Sorry. This is negative, right? Negative. Okay. How about the number? How about the second interval? So let's say x equals 1. 1 is positive, right? 1 is positive. So negative 3 times positive times what? Okay, 1 minus 2 is okay, let me write the expression. So x is positive 1, so this is negative. 1 minus 2 is negative. So the result is what? Negative times negative is positive. So this interval has positive y values. Okay, how about the third interval? So let's try 3. Okay, 3. So negative 3 times negative 3 is positive, and 3 is positive, and 3 minus 2 is positive. Right? 3 minus 2 is positive. So the result is negative times positive is negative. So this area is negative. And now what? Since we find the interval, then match. So the expressions of which interval is less than 0? Less than 0 means negative. So negative means the first interval and the third interval. So this one has negative y values. So the solution is what? The first interval and the third interval. So the solution is x is less than or equal to 0, or x is greater than or equal to 0. We include this 0 and 2 because there is equal sign. Or you can write it like this for interval notation. Negative infinity to where? To 0, and 0 is included, or means union. And from 2 all the way to the infinity. So you can write the solution as this. Okay, number 17. Okay, here is a function, a rational function. And we want to find the vertical asymptote and horizontal asymptote. Okay, in order to find the vertical asymptote, always we have to, okay, for the vertical asymptote is simple. Set the denominator equal to 0 and then solve for x. So for the vertical asymptote, we will set the denominator, which is 4x squared minus 4 equal to 0. Then find the x. And factor out 4, then x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. Then 4 times x plus 1, x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x equals negative 1 and 1. So vertical asymptotes are, there are two of them. X is 1 and negative 1. That's the vertical asymptote. So vertical asymptote is what? X equals negative 1, x equals positive 1. And the equation for the vertical asymptote is what? X is in the vertical line, so the equation is x equals. How about horizontal asymptote? Okay, check the degrees. And the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator are same. They are both square, right? Square. So the horizontal asymptote, horizontal line is y equals. Equation of horizontal line is y equals, not x equals. So y equals what? 8 over 4. Okay, look at this one, the horizontal asymptote. Okay, if the degree of the denominator is greater, the degree of the denominator is greater than the numerator, then y equals 0. Always y equals 0. If the degree of the numerator and the denominator are the same, then always is the coefficient of the leading is the leading coefficient. So 8 over 4, which is y equals 2. This is the vertical asymptote, horizontal asymptote, and this is the vertical asymptote. Okay, if the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator like this, then there's no horizontal asymptote. Okay, no horizontal asymptote. So I should write no horizontal asymptote. Okay. Okay, number 18, solve the inequality. All right, this is a rational inequality. First, let's find the critical numbers. So in this case, the numerator is 7, always 7. So we cannot make the numerator 0. And then set the denominator to 0. Then this means 3 minus x equals 0. So x equals 3. X equals 3. So when x equals 3, then this is the vertical asymptote. This is the vertical asymptote, right? Vertical asymptote. So we don't allow 3 for the x value. If x equals 3, then the denominator becomes 0, right? Becomes undefined. So we will never include 3 for x. Never ever include this 3, because this is the vertical asymptote, right? Vertical asymptote. So draw this 3 on the number line, and we will not include this number 3, even though there is equal sign. Don't include this 3. All right, then there are two intervals. So for each interval, let's find the sign of this rational expression. Okay. So 7 over 3 minus x. So let's find the sign of this one for each interval. So in this case, let's try 0 for x. Let's say x equals 0, then the numerator is positive. 3 minus 0 is positive. 3 minus 0 is positive, right? So this is positive. Okay, for x equals, let's say 4. Okay, for the second interval, let's x equals 4, then 7 is positive. 7 is positive. 3 minus 4 is negative. 3 minus 4 is negative, right? This is negative. So this interval has negative y value. So we are looking for less than 0. Less than 0 is what? Less than 0 is negative part, negative part. So which part? This part. So this interval is the solution, and 3 is not included. 3 is not included because what? If x equals 3, the denominator is 3. Right? It's undefined, not 0. It becomes undefined. So there's no way to get a 0 because the numerator is positive, not 0. So the solution is anyway, what? This interval. So x is greater than 3. Greater than 3, or for interval notation, x is 3 all the way to the infinity. This is the solution. Okay. We don't okay. Again, 3 is not included in the solution because 3 makes the denominator 0. So the expression becomes what? Undefined. Okay, this is important. No equal sign, right? No equal sign. Okay, number 19. What is the type of the solution? Okay, type of the solution is this. If this is a quadratic equation is equal to 0, then the solution is what? Using the formula, the quadratic formula, it will be negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then the type of the solution depends on this expression, b squared minus 4ac. We call this what? Discriminant, right? Discriminant. D. So we will check the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. So if the discriminant is what? If the discriminant is greater than 0, then there is a square root of something, right? Square root of something. So you will have irrational, it will be irrational numbers. But if the d is a perfect square, if d is a perfect square, then what? Then the square root is gone, right? Square root is gone, so there will be rational. There will be 2 rational solutions. Okay, this will be 2 irrational, right? Irrational. Okay, what if d is less than 0? Less than 0 means square root of negative number, right? Negative number, something like this. So that will be complex solution. Complex solution. How many? There will be 2, right? 2. So let's check the discriminant. So negative b squared. Negative b squared is negative b squared minus 4ac. So 4 minus 4 is equal to 0. 0 is what? 0 is square root of 0 is 0. So there's nothing, right? So this is 0. That means what? That means solution is negative b over 2a, right? Plus or minus 0. So there is only 1. So there's one solution, one repeated solution. So another one is if d equals 0. If d is equal to 0, then there is only one rational solution, right? Rational solution. So the type of the solution is there is one rational solution because negative b over 2a is a rational number. Okay, the last one, number 20. Solve the inequality. Okay, first move negative 1 to the left, then plus 1, and then make the same denominator, so x minus 2. The numerator is x minus 2. Then combine the numerator. Alright, so this is equal to x plus 3 over x minus 2 is less than or equal to 0. So we just rewrote the inequality into this. So left side of the inequality is x plus 3 over x minus 2. So from here, let's find the critical numbers. Critical numbers. So in this case, set the numerator to 0, right? Numerator to 0. So that means x plus 3 is equal to 0, so that x equals what? Negative 3. And the denominator is equal to 0, then x minus 2 is equal to 0, so that x equals 2. So in this case, we will keep in mind that once you make the denominator 0, then this is never included in the solution. Never include in the solution. Why? Because if x equals 2, then the denominator is 0, so the expression is undefined. That's why we will not include these two. So from here, let's plot these two numbers. Plot these two numbers on the number line. So x equals 0 and 1 is 2. So x equals negative 3 and 2. There are 3 intervals and 2 is never included. How about negative 3? There is equal sign. The inequality has equal sign. So if x equals negative 3, then the expression becomes 0. So we will include negative 3 as a solution in the solution. And 2 is never included. Then let's find the sign of each interval. There are 3 intervals. So for the first one, okay, the expression is this. So let's check the sign of this expression. So let's select negative 4. From the first interval, select negative 4. Then negative 4 is negative 4 plus 3 is negative. Negative 4 minus 2 is negative. So negative over negative is positive. So the first interval has positive y value. And between these two numbers, so let's try 0. So 0 plus 3 is positive. 0 minus 2 is negative. So the result is negative. Okay, for the third interval, let's try number 3. Then 3 plus 3 is positive. 3 minus 2 is positive. So the result is positive. Now we are looking for the interval where the y expression is, the y value is less than 0, which is negative. Because this means negative, right? Negative. So which interval has negative? Between these two. So the solution is x is between what? Negative 3 and 2, but negative 3 is included. Negative 3 is included. So x is greater than negative 3 or equal to negative 3. But we don't include 2 because if x equals 2, the expression is undefined, right? So this one, or you can write interval notation, negative 3 to 2. 2 is not included, so parenthesis, negative 3 is included, so bracket.